Hey everybody, welcome to the channel, glad to have you here. Today we have a Krell game for you. Um, I do have Heinrich Kemmler here, and he does have a White King bodyguard. So going heavy on kind of the hero sniping in this one. To aid in that, I do have a Vargolf who has a ton of armor-piercing damage. And then you can see I have a main line of these. Well, actually, we'll get back to that. This is actually a vampire versus a vampire mirror match. And Krell will be taking on the Blood Dragons. And so he has a very themed army here around the Blood Dragons, and it will highlight some new units that have appeared in the SFO mod. But you can see I have a main line here of armor piercing, expecting Graveguard in return. I do have the Sternsman on that flank. I've spread out my healing, so you can see my Claw of Nagash will be hitting these 3 units. And then Krell will be hitting these 2 with his Chaos Tomb Blade to kind of spread out, make sure everything is getting healing, and then I can focus my Invocation of Nehex where they're really needed. I have 2 Spearmen in the back, just expecting large targets and large creatures. These guys are pretty shitty, but they're must bring. And then one of the new units I've brought is these Black Grail Knights. So with Krell and his many adventures, has gotten some of these Black Grail Knights, and they are just terrifying. They do have this Curse of the Black Grail, replenishes hit points, and gives them a ton of physical resistance. Behind them, I do have some Renegade Blood Knights, and then I do have the Dire Pack. And I think that's my whole army there. If we head over here, you can see he has a very similar army. Tons of Graveguard with great weapons. He does have a Blood Dragon Lord on foot to complement his Blood Dragons here, and they're on foot as well, and they're just crazy strong, crazy fast. You can see 63 move speed. They have Frenzy. They have Vampiric Knighthood, which replenishes health. So I'm definitely going to have to really try really hard to get these guys off the field because they will just continuously regenerate. He does have a Necromancer for some extra raised dead and for some healing. Then in the back, he has 2 units of Blood Knights and a Dire Wolves pack. So we'll get started here. And in this mod, Krell is a beast, and he's only on a 30-second cooldown, and he doesn't degenerate. So you can just cast him, and he'll stay on the field for as long as you need him, and for however long the battle takes. And it's really helpful because Krell just is not the best in melee combat, but he does have that Chaos Tomb Blade, which heals around him when he's in combat, and it adds +8 melee attack, so it makes Krell, and in this case the White King, even more terrifying if they're fighting alongside Heinrich. So I'm going to really be trying to hit the leadership here early on, take this guy out with Krell, and then turn Krell to potentially AoE damage some of these Graveguard, or take on the Blood Dragons. And you can see the Blood Knights. I'm going to be pushing up some spears around here to try and, prevent him from getting around, because I feel like he does have a superior cav force, just because my Black Grail Knights don't have any armor-piercing damage. They're mostly for unarmored things, kind of like the Grail Knights don't have unarmored stuff. You can, I don't know what I just cast there. Arcane Conduit. Trying to get that the charge rate up as early as possible. And you can see I do have 1 unit of Blood Knights, and I do have these Dire Pack who have a ton of damage, but as you can see, most of it is not armor piercing. So they're a lot better against like Vargolfs or Corpse Carts and stuff like that. So I'm going to be trying to sneak them around potentially, try and get them somewhere where they can succeed. But, if I end up putting them just on Blood Knights, that's perfectly fine. So you can see I'm the aggressor here. I'm moving up. Claw of Nagash coming up as well, and you can see I'm pushing over here. I was kind of expecting him to push around, but he does not. But I am going to push some spears over here. And you can see he is going to detach one of these units to chase after my spears, and I'm going to notice that and just try and pull these guys out, and you're going to see kind of how that works. This main line is going to engage. You can see he's going heavy on Kemmler. I do have, luckily, my Vargolf and my White King as an escort, and I am going to be spawning Krell back here as well. You know, vampire versus vampire, it's usually just a blob. Here comes Krell. He's going to get all angry and come in here and help us put down this Blood Dragon Lord. You can see he's trying to flee. Oh man, so cool. As the Vargolf gets stuck on some of these guys, you can see my Grails, my Black Grail Guardians are in there as well. Over here you can see I'm just running my spears away, trying to drag these great weapons as far away from the fight as possible, because I really don't want my Sternsmen to get caught there. And you can see they're getting slaughtered here by these Blood Dragons. They've taken very little damage against these Sternsmen. But you can see the Claw of Nagash is kind of supporting this fight, draining the health from all these guys. So I'm feeling pretty confident. And so I'm going to be getting most of my heals and spells and stuff done over here. You can see I do spawn these skeleton warriors to stop these blood knights from getting their charge, trying to save Krell and my Vargolf as much damage as possible. And you can see they're all kind of just in here. He did manage to pull out. I need to refocus this squad over here. And you can see I am trying to run these guys through. Nice job keeping these blood knights in reserve. But I really would have loved to see them kind of push around. You can see he did catch them, and I'm continuing to try and run them away as Krell takes on the Blood Dragon Lord. Invocations and all sorts of stuff coming down. So the Blood Dragon's holding up, but not when the Vargolf is going to come in as well. Kind of monkey stomp him. And you can see my my less massy lords are going to have a hard time pushing through like my Vargolf. So here you can see I'm going to get a nice rear charge on these Blood Knights, and raise some zombies here to try and keep these guys in the fight as long as possible, while I drop these guys into the back of the Sternsmen just to keep them safe. And they do have armor piercing damage, so they will do pretty good in this, especially when they're charging them in the back, with some zombies here to distract. But you can see my Dire Pack not doing very much damage. Here you can see this, we have managed to isolate the Blood Dragon Lord, spawning more zombies here just to stop half these Blood Knights. But now you can see I've gotten a lot of stuff around him. I have my Black Grail Knights, I have my Vargolf, and I have my White King Kemlers over here, dueling some Blood Dragons. Probably not the best place for him to be, but I'm getting a lot of these nice Invocations of Nehek down. You can see over here, they are finishing off my Skeleton Warriors, but I'll gladly trade this to have this guy out of the fight for this long. And you can see if he had that over here, this left side would have been far more decisive, and he would have been able to push these guys around. And you can see, look at these Sternsmen just get crushed by these Blood Dragons. Even near this Claw of Nagash, too. So you can see the Blood Knights still very healthy. I'm still trying to get this Vargolf. You can see some Spearmen in here as well. Blood Knights are slowly cutting their way through these Sternsmen and these Graveguard. You can see a lot of our Graveguard is kind of just traded with a very low health. You can see another Invocation of Nehek is being dropped here, trying to keep all these guys alive. See these Blood Dragons just doing work in the front line. 2 types of regeneration there, and you can see I'm going to raise some zombies on Kemler just to keep the inundation thick. I don't want any of my stuff to get isolated. And you can see over here, man, struggling to kill that Blood Lord, that Blood Dragon Lord. Where's Krell? Krell's in here, just kind of laying down the law on these Blood Knights. He will definitely do a lot of damage to these guys, especially with that heroic killing blow, which pops him up to 618 weapon strength. It's terrifying. You can see I did bring my Vargolf over here to just stop these guys from rear charging. So now it's just my White King over here. So I'm not doing a very good job here of isolating this guy. But you can see I have managed to keep this pocket going, and I seem to be winning this just crush in the middle. So you can see got my Heinrich in there, activating that Chaos Tomb Blade. You can see Slippery is helping him kind of push through the crowd. Here comes the Claw of Nagash, just trying to keep it away from that stuff. You can see Kendler is just pushing for that Blood Dragon Lord. You can see Krell over here doing a very similar thing.
Even Krell would be impressed.
He's just swarmed by Dire Pack and skeletons. I guess I'm pushing over here for some reason. feel like I killed this guy way earlier in the replay, because you can see how a lot of my dudes are just kind of pushing through.
For my master.
That is very strange, especially because I just played this one, so my file shouldn't be bad. But yeah, you can see here, I do manage to just route all this stuff. I'm pretty sure I killed that guy pretty early on with my huge, yeah, you can see there. Definitely something weird going on with that replay. But you got to see a little bit of Krell action. You got to see some of the new units, the Black Rail Knights and the Blood Dragons. You can see they did work. But, you know, Claw of Nagash, still very good unit. As long as you're able to protect it from these kind of anti-large units. You can see the Cav, still very healthy. But these guys just getting a ton of kills, probably mostly on those zombies. Yeah. Anyways, great game to Marshall, and there's Krell. That's that.